Welcome back to Modern Homestead Alaska. Today, let's build a barn. First things first, we're gonna head off to Home Depot and get the parts and pieces we needed.
Another 6.
Show us your map. Show us your blueprint.
The blueprint, you build it away.
It's quite the blueprint there, big guy. We got our first load and headed home. We started out by first semi-leveling the ground where the barn is going to go. We moved the barn 3 different times before settling on the location that we have decided to finally put the barn. We moved out our tools and some electrical, and Aaron and Caleb got to quick work on squaring up the corners. So ignore everything that's in the middle. They're just squaring up the corners of the barn and measuring all of that out. We then decided we needed to move it a little further in one direction, and now we had to square up the building all over again. We are using these concrete blocks that hold the posts. Caleb and Aaron began putting all of the posts in. They are, I believe, 12 foot tall. And then we had to use lots and lots as an example of 2x4s to hold the poles that are the main supports of the barn straight and level. So we are just tying everything together. All of the 2x4s you see here will not stay as part of the barn, but they in fact get taken down and become other parts of the barn. And then we use these concrete stays or stakes or ties, whatever you want to call them, to hammer into the ground and then tie the 2x4s to those as well. The main structure of the barn is the comical drawing that Aaron had of just these little dots on a piece of paper, and then he was able to buy the lumber based off of his little drawing. But the drawing at the very beginning is actually the post that you're seeing. On the next day, after the very, very long trip to the Home Depot and then getting the post set, Aaron and Caleb began to level the post. Because our ground is not perfectly level, we actually are building the building off of the top of the post, and so they have to get cut according to what is actually level at the very, very top of the building as opposed to the bottom. So we're building basically from the top down as opposed to the ground up, if that makes any sense. Then Aaron and Caleb climbed the ladders to build the peak, which is this first area, and tying 2x4s across the top. And then the area that is in the front of the barn is going to be a 3-on-1 slope or pitch to the roof to both the front and the back of the barn. Sorry, I misspoke there a little bit. It is actually 4x4s that we are tying to the other 4x4s, and then on the sides it is 2x6 instead of 2x4 for the roof line. You would not build a roof out of 2x4s. Sorry, here I go, misspeaking again. You would never build a roof out of 2x4s in Alaska. It would not withhold our snow load, and it is not proper construction. That's neither here nor there. It's your building, it's your house. Build it how you want, is how I always think of it. But we would like this barn to last for a very long time, so we are going to do our very best to build it to the right specifications for our snow load and our location here in Alaska. So the next step after getting the front and the back, the 4x4s are all connected with 4x4s. Aaron and the boys, both Caleb and Wyatt, they began cutting out the 2x6s to the slope. Everything has to be notched on both the front and the back. And then Caleb and Wyatt are up on the ladder putting all of the 2x6s in. Aaron notches them, and then I use just a little bitty saw to knock out that final notch, and we hand up the poles over and over and over. And this took an entire day just to get all of that wood up there. How's it coming, babe?
Huh?
Looking good?
Get him! Get him, Pep!
It's his birthday! What's today, Aaron? Your favorite son's birthday?
Brutal. Such a knucklehead. Yeah, it's just like his mother.
I'm not his mom. I'm his grandma. Is it your birthday? Humbert? Did you get him? Did you get him, Tipper? Did you get him? Get him, Tip.
Good girl.
Good girl. You're so fast. An old fat poor pumpkin.
Hopefully these pieces are long enough right behind you. We can start using those.
Did you put a tape on those?
I did not put a tape on them. But we need to see if they're long enough for these.
Right.
We'll need them 1, 2, 3 spots. Need them on this end, middle, and the end. And then I gotta start putting them in the middle. In the middle. And then I wanna, before I do anything with the roof or anything with the, well, we can put the sides on too. But I gotta get this building like this, locked in.
Right.
Right? So
Yeah.
I want to get it locked in place so it don't move, because right now it's still moving.
Well, yeah, none of the hurricane straps are on it. And what do you call that when you put them in between?
What?
What do you call that?
The blocking?
The blocking. I think that'll help quite a bit, right?
No, that's going to help.
The only question...
Then I'm going to go with another board from there, center, to here, set here, and then from there to there on the roof, on the rafters.
Yeah.
So it ties them together to that middle point. The ends come back to this middle point. Do it on both sides. Then I'm going to lay cross braces.
Oh, like what you did in the chicken coop?
And lay cross braces inside those. Get that all solid, because we get all that solid and we tie this in, because there's nothing coming here. And then,
Right,
then I'm going to put this piece
course.
in, going from here to here, and then here, 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 and here.
Yeah.
Throw it at their face.
Why?
For real. So you always aim for their face, and it'll go right to them.
Okay, that literally makes me so paranoid.
Well, that's what you do.
I would never throw something at your face on a ladder.
That's the golden rule. If I'm going to throw this hammer to you up there, I'm going to aim right for your face.
Why?
And then you just throw it up, because it goes right to them, they can catch it. Yes.
Nope.
So that works, girl.
I
So it works, girl.
I don't love that. I don't love that explanation.
So these ones, how many of those tees did we buy?
Okay, on where he ties the 4x4s together, there's a T, and it takes 3 lags. So he lags those together so you can see here. And then on the corners, there's an L-shaped bracket that ties those together. And then on all of the 2x6 to the 4x4 is a U-shaped bracket, right? Yeah. What else are we? L. Well, it's like a U. That's the corner. No, the 2x6 to the 2x4 is a U. So it grips. Actually, here, let me show you. So this is what is tying the 4x4 to the 4x4. So this is the T. Okay, that's the L. How does that one go on? Just like that, like a little L. huh? This is a bad angle for you. There's so much back noise. We have someone cutting the logs. What? Splitting logs. Darren just figured out, what is that? A 14-degree cut? Okay, how'd you figure that out?
Math.
Math, basic math. This is just basic elementary math around here.
Yoga, please.
Yeah.
Start cutting those for you. This.
Uh-huh.
You just gotta stick them in here. Now I stick the next one in though. You got to toenail it in.
I know.
Huh?
That
and then you
I
can hammer it straight in on the other side, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So after Aaron got all of the hurricane straps tied in and the T's and the L's and all of those different things, then we started with him doing the cutting of the boards, and then I kept having so much trouble back and forth, but I almost got this whole row nailed in. All right, what are you doing up there now?
Ridge cap on.
Bridge cap. Ridge or bridge?
Ridge.
Ridge, sorry. So we got these in. We got all of those in. I got tired of nailing, so we only got some of those. So after switching over, and now Aaron is doing all of the nailing and I am doing all of the cutting. It takes two separate machines to actually do this. So the first one, I just cut the boards to the length, and then I have to move over to the table saw. And for the ridge cap, I have to cut two 14-degree cuts in it on both sides of the 2x6, and then on the very ends I only cut one, and then on the center ones we don't have to cut using the table saw at all. So this took an entire day with just the two of us working on getting the roof even ready for the material. And on Sunday, we had to, for day 4, make another trip to the Home Depot. We knew it would take 2 trips. And on this day, we got the siding or the sheeting and the roofing, as well as these big, long 2x6s that are 16 foot long. Aaron uses them as an angle, and he makes it to where truly the building is very tied together and it is no longer shifting and moving. And that was his goal. Before Caleb and Wyatt ever get on the roof, we wanted to make sure that the building was as sturdy as possible. The other task that we had to do in order to just tie the metal roofing in is Caleb and Wyatt had to get up there with some 1x3s, and we use the 1x3s as something to nail the metal roofing in. It's so strange to me on construction, but the more and more I learn, the more we have built our home and the chicken coop and the woodshed and all of these different things that we have built, we have learned that the structure itself is what takes all of the time and effort. And then the finishes, so these little 1x3s, although they do help with some sturdiness to the roof, they are basically what the metal nails to or screws down to. And Caleb just jumped up on the roof. He got all of those tackled, him and Wyatt, while Aaron and I were working on finishing some other stuff around the barn, getting it ready for sheeting. And here in these clips on this day, what you can see is we just work as a team. I'm bounced over now helping Caleb and Destiny. We are getting the metal roof ready to go on. Caleb is going to explain how he does it in just a minute here in the video. And then Aaron decides that he did not like the idea of me putting the metal roofing up while he was here in case it slid down or something were to happen, which is funny because Caleb and I later had to help. But while he is here, he is such a good man that he was like, no, I will help do this. And Wyatt and I decided we would just go ahead and move all of the plywood because it is just dumping rain. And we move our little fire inside, and they were teasing us because this is the first time that we get to work not in the rain while Caleb put this roof on, but of course he roofs in the rain apparently. So Alaska does what Alaska does. The weather did not cooperate very, very much on any of the weekends, as the luck would have it, as we tried to build this barn. So we finished out as best we could. We got one side done, but the camera is obviously going to cut out because it is dark, and we are going to move to the following weekend. And if you're curious where the barn sits on our property, when you come up the little lane that we had built beginning in winter and then throughout the summer, there's that beautiful rock wall that our amazing neighbors built for us. And then the barn overlooks the garden, which overlooks the chicken coop. And that is all next to the house. So here is a little look of where we are starting this hopefully final weekend of the barn build out. And Caleb and I are getting ready with some help to get the other side of the roof on. How long are these and how wide are they?
About 39 inches wide, 14 long.
14 feet?
Yes.
And you already did the whole first half of the roof.
Yep, it's already done.
You are?
You gotta level them out. You can't use the same board on both sides. You have to get another one.
Why?
No reason. Make sure they're all flush. Perfect. Don't drop your hammer.
Are you trying to be as awkward as possible?
Well, I've never been mic'd up before. What am I supposed to do? Then you get a cowboy, take it right on the lap, clamp it so they don't slide or move.
Because
now,
you're going to do what?
You have to cut off. They're too long, so you got to trim one of the sides. About yay.
Okay.
$163.5. Measure both sides, get a mark where you want it. Our measurement's 163.5. You grab your level or a straight edge of any type. Hey, Birdie. Throw it on there. Now you're doing your lap screws, you got to drill them while they're all perfect, so you got a perfect line all the way across.
What's a lap screw?
Well, it holds the panels together. Zzz.
So when we look at the roof, all the screws are in a straight line?
Yes.
How far apart do you do them?
The bottom 4 go every 6 inches, then every 2 feet from 2 feet.
I'm gonna double up. What are you doing?
We're putting butyl tape on the lap, so when they lap, it's a nice waterproof seal so water can't go up and around. Very easy to apply. Throwing it on there. Pull and lay out, so when you put the panels on, they line up straight and run straight the whole time instead of eyeballing it and then get them cockeyed and stuff.
Right. All right, well, let's just get to it. Put it in fast forward. It is day 5 of the barn build, and Caleb has sometimes he has Fridays off because he works very long shifts Monday through Thursday, but most of the time he works overtime. On this day, he knew I needed the roof done, so he actually requested that he could have the time off to come to the house and help me with the roof. It was very difficult for his dad to say no to him because his dad is his boss. And Aaron knew this was something that needed to be done. And Aaron also knew if the boys and I could tackle quite a bit on Friday, we were hoping to finish the barn on Saturday and introduce our new family member on Sunday. I'm going to disappoint you now. We do get quite a bit through the barn by the end of the video, but there is no new friend yet. She or he is coming shortly. All right, what's that stuff called and what is that piece?
This is butyl tape. This is a piece of trim that we're gonna put on the sides. Make it look nice and beauty. Wrap it up so you ain't got these cut edges and it's all sealed from the weather.
Nice. So you have all the roof panels on though?
All the roof panels are on. You do all the roof panels first before you start on trim.
Okay. So we're gonna trim it out now?
Yep.
And after Wyatt had finished therapy and a workout this day, he came to help. Any of you that follow our channel know that Wyatt, the floppy-haired one, he shattered his L1 vertebrae into 6 pieces. He then had it like pressing into his spinal cord, and it was a horrific scare of nearly costing him his life, the fall itself, and then also the injury nearly costing him his abilities. And here we are just, 12, 13, 14, 16 weeks, whatever the case is, later, he is on a roof and helping his brother, completely healthy. It just makes me so emotional to see what he has accomplished, but also full of gratitude that he is even here, let alone able to be a part of this. So join me in being grateful today for the many gifts in our lives. The previous weekend, and we'll touch on later, we could have made it a little bit further. However, because of some design changes on my part, Aaron will talk about here in just a minute, We could have gotten a lot more sheeting done. However, it needed to be rethought through. So the boys are here and we have taken the instructions that Erin has given us as far as how to lay it out. And the boys and I are tackling some sheeting. You're going to begin to notice a mistake. Well, it's not, I guess it's a mistake and a flaw all at the same time. When hanging the 2x4s, Caleb did not realize, having never built a building like this, that what he needed to do with the spacing of the 2x4s was actually start at the top. Because remember earlier in the video, I said that we built the barn from the top down. Well, when hanging the 2x4s, Caleb started measuring off of the bottom, making the very, very tippy top row look uneven, even though the building itself is square and correct. The plywood looks a little bit off and you see kind of this wave. So we have to cut each piece at the very top the following day to match how Caleb had begun the 2x4 layout. No big deal, we got it done. Come on, Blue.
This is the first time he's walked in front of me.
Come on, Blue. Come on, Blue.
Is there mud and muck out here, buddy? Is there mud and muck out here?
Well, Cody dropped off a little bit of a chore. She was going duck hunting for a little bit, and Blue is not quite old enough or ready to be out in the field hunting. So Roberto is such a big help. He is helping us babysit little baby Blue for a little while Cody is out. And it is so funny, the looks that Roberto was giving me all day. But anyway, back to the barn build. And Aaron is here. He is going to help us fix lots of little mistakes and rethink things. So here is a bit from him.
Come on, buddy. So right now, what we have built is a pole barn, basically, that is 24 by 24 with a big breezeway in here, 12-foot wide breezeway with 12-foot stalls and a hay bin here. I'm going to call it a bin, but it's just where we can stack the hay up, keep it out of the weather, and we'll end up putting the pins out there. So it'll be a pretty good little deal. Jeez. Those your boards?
Yeah. Those your boards?
Mine are straight. So we built the pole barn here. We built it as a pole barn. So you run it down like this with the siding. You know, put your girts on the side here like this. And we were going to put metal siding along this side of this. Jessica changed her mind mid-project, like always. So now we are trying to put plywood on, sheeting on it. And I had to change how we were going to build it. It's a little different because you don't have the strength, and I don't have 16 studs every 16 inches. So I'm putting some bracing in like this just to modify that. Otherwise I have to redesign the whole barn. So this will work pretty good. It's pretty solid. This covers up my laps on my plywood and gives strength also in there. I might have to put a few extras in the middle here and there and tie them all the way up to the roof. But I think it'll be okay. This is going to be
I cannot tell you how grateful we are that the roof is on and finished for the most part. Caleb has to come and do a couple of touch-up changes on it as well. So Aaron and Wyatt and I start tackling this center. So the wall that you're seeing here that we're working on is actually going to become the exterior wall of the stalls, so that any animal that is inside of the barn will be completely out of the weather and the wind and the snow. And then the breezeway idea, as we're kind of talking through the barn, the breezeway idea of having double space is so that barn type animals can be outside without necessarily being in the snow, the rain, the mud, the muck, giving the animals a place to hang out. All right, friends, so last night became kind of frustrating because sometimes what is in my head of what we're building and what's in his head are not always the same thing. We got to the point of framing out the doors and realized what was in my head and his head are not going to do the same thing. So Aaron's going to kind of walk us through. He had to do a bunch of thinking last night and decide how to remedy all of this. And so first of all, tell us what problem I created and then how we're going to kind of remedy it.
We built this thing like a pole barn, right? So sitting here built on blocks, set up off the ground a little ways, and then it's not the same as building it on a slab of concrete where you got a level slab. I can just anchor stuff down, I can build up, I can go off of that. So right now, these trapezoid looking blocks, whatever they are, they just are off shaped. I'm gonna frame around, then I have nothing to anchor a wall down to in this side or in here because it's in the dirt. So if anything hits the side of the frame, it's going to want to twist off. So we're trying to come up with a way. It might be a sliding door now, just so we can slide a door across here and be done with it. But then I got to build these out this way, shimmy across the front, so the door can right here and across. But that's kind of our issues. It's just kind of a little different design, and haven't built these before, so it's just trying to think the process through, trying to figure that out to make it right so it lasts a long time and it functions the way we want it to.
Right.
But
so originally the design was door here, door in that bay, a gate over the hay, and you just don't think that has the strength. That's just not going to work. So right now what we're thinking is the door or barn door or sliding door or double doors are all in one bay, and then that's closed off. So this entire thing is internal barn with one set of doors. Is that what you're thinking?
yeah, it's one door right here.
One door.
Slides
Gotcha.
over.
Okay.
Yep.
Fun.
This is still going to be a gate.
Still going to be a gate. Still the hay over there. Hunt tip. All right. Let's see what we can build. Framing out the internal structure is made a whole lot simpler with Aaron actually here with me to do it on this day, and Wyatt pops in and out, and Caleb, of course, shows up later. But we are moving the weight from the roof and the walls and so on down into these posts, and then Aaron is increasing the size of the post by adding these 2x4s to them. and then we are framing out the top of it with a very traditional framing method with the 16 on centers, and then we are able to hang the sheeting without any issues in the top part of the interior barn. So all of that is going to work out fantastic. And then adding or adjusting the way that the load from the doors is going to go. Aaron shored up this building nice and tight. Maybe sometimes we overbuild a little bit, but we have watched buildings collapse up here over the last couple of winters that we've had. So I would rather have it a little overbuilt than underbuilt any day of the week, because what is inside of this structure will be of great value, whether it's emotional because it's a family member and it is a pet or whatever the case is. We want to make sure our animals are protected as best as we possibly can. So let's overbuild the barn just a wee bit. Caleb made quick work of fixing the back of the barn, and then Aaron had to go all the way to Anchorage to get the final piece of the exterior trim for the metal roof. So Caleb had popped in on this day, even though he had some busy things that he was doing, and him and Wyatt went ahead and finished out the roof. We'll take a look at that. We got a drone, obviously, for the first time, and we are just playing around, figuring out how to use it. I thought it was fairly comical. Aaron is just, instead of hopping up there on the roof, he's able to check on those boys' work and see what they were doing from the ground, and we could watch them. But in all seriousness, they did an awesome job. Caleb has become really good at construction. And then on this day, we finished all of the sheeting. Aaron and Wyatt even took the time to cut the small strips that would go. And then we have a door plan moving forward. But all in all, I think it is coming out fantastic. We need to get another 2x6 so that we can completely close off the stall area so that whatever happens to be in there is completely blocked. And then we have a plan for the bottom of the barn to keep it from getting weathered, but also to block out the snow and rain. And we are proud to welcome to the family Little Boy Blue, Cody's new hunting puppy. He is an English Springer Spaniel that is turning 8 weeks old in a day or so, and he is just a perfect addition to the homestead. Well, friends, we made it as far as we can for this week's video. I will be sharing with you all the rest of the barn. We've got the doors figured out. We know what we're doing. We have to build pins off the front. What are we doing about the siding? I'm going to answer all of that in an upcoming video, and I will keep bringing you along as we finish this barn build. However, do me a favor. Tell me in the comment section, what do you think? Who do you think we built this barn for? If you know, telling is cheating, so don't tell if I have personally told you what is coming here. I just want to know what all of my YouTube friends and family actually think we built this barn for, and what friend is coming to live on the homestead. So with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. I hope you enjoyed this so far. There is so much more coming on our modern homestead here in South Central Alaska. Thanks for being here today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.